Will the three teams who suffered heartbreak in the end of season playoffs this year in the Championship be able to bounce back next season? Is the question I want to tackle in today's video. So, I am talking to you Leeds fans. They lost in the final. I'm talking to you Norwich and West Brom fans. They lost in the semi-finals. Are you seeing a rise or a fall next season after playoff heartbreak this season? Let me know right now, actually, what you think the historical picture is. I've had a look at the last 15 teams, so just 5 years worth of data to lose in the playoffs. Tell me now, hit pause, get in the comments. Do you think the majority rise the next season? Or do you think the majority fall or will be revealed at the end of the season? Let's talk about Leeds first. Lots going on at Leeds, actually, with this Red Bull investment. And pertinent to this conversation today, we had the chairman coming out backing Daniel Farke for next season. I'd said to Sam on the Championship Check-In podcast on Monday, I would go with Farke again. I mean, for goodness sake, this guy now, he's got 90 points 3 times, hasn't he? Twice with Norwich and now with Leeds. I just cannot think of anybody who knows his way around this division, especially getting to the 90-point mark. And frankly, that would normally, in any other season, put you in the top 2. And you would imagine it would be a sensible thing to stick with Daniel Farke. And the chances of him doing that again next season, I actually think, are pretty likely. Look, obviously, we're in the FFP world now, P&S, use whatever letters you like to say that teams who don't immediately get promoted out of the Championship, they're going to have to sell their best players. The parachute payments drop from year 1 to year 2. You've got to set yourself up within those loss limits. We know there's been loads of stories with Leeds this week as well about back-end transfer payments that need to be made. So look, you are not likely to see all of Somerville, Nonto, Gray, Ruter, insert sellable asset there. But I just feel with a year 2 parachute payment, with Daniel Farke, and just with the size and the scale of Leeds and what they're going to be able to do on commercial levels in terms of bringing that money in and how they operated this season, they do not strike me as a team that's going to be falling from grace next season, which we sometimes do see with playoff losers, as we will come on to. But the teams that fall tend to be ones that punched above their weight to get in there in the first place. So I would be reasonably confident sitting here right now we're not even in June, are we yet, ahead of next season, that Leeds will probably rise after playoff defeat last season and at worst get into the playoffs again. I'm not anticipating any kind of tangible fall off. We come to West Brom. They obviously lost in the 4th versus 5th semi-final. So their bar is 5th position. And when it comes to West Brom, there's a few things to mention. The first thing is the manager. He's absolutely imperative because when we talk about teams maybe punching above their weight, I think West Brom actually punched above their weight to get in last season. We knew the parachute payments were gone for Carlos Corber, and I was really worried at the start of the season. I heard some comments from supporters groups that if off-field issues aren't sorted, it was going to be real trouble for West Brom. They got themselves a new owner. We'll see what happens in the transfer market because it has been. I think you have to go back to Daryl DK coming in for big money a couple of summers ago under Big Val. That would have been, was that year 1 the parachute payments or year 2? I can't quite remember. It would have been year 1, wouldn't it? Because it was free transfers last year with Jed Wallace and John Swift coming in. Not being able to recruit in a kind of fearsome way at all, really. And Carlos Corberon's, worked the oracle as the manager there. And also, I would be looking what is coming down. How is the division changing? Yes, everyone's kind of anticipating that last season just gone was a bit of a freak show with, 87, 90, 96 and 97, was it? Just ludicrously high points totals at the top. But you are getting Burnley back without Vincent Kompany. You are getting Sheffield United back, and there's still questions in terms of Prince Abdullah and the ownership power there. And Luton, are they going to be able to leverage, coming in as a pauper, getting to the Premier League and coming down as a king? Are all those teams going to be expecting to be above West Brom? And then are other challengers, the likes of Middlesbrough and Coventry, who are two sides who did lose in the playoffs and then regress back this season? Maybe they'll be back, maybe Hull. I'm going to talk about Norwich in a minute. Long and the short of it is Carlos Corberan going to be able to work the Oracle again? I'm not entirely sure he will. Certainly not to a 5th place. Maybe to get 6th. I don't know. But I do anticipate a potential fall for West Brom unless we see, a pretty... how aggressive can you be in terms of FFP? And we talked about West Brom taking loans against their parachute payments. Unless we see the owners go for it in the sensible way that you have to, I think it might be a little bit of a fall. Let me know what you think in the comments, which leads us to Norwich, who are our 6th place team. Did they punch above their weight to get in the playoffs? No, I don't think so. Year 2 parachute team, some really good individual players. Sargent, Sara, Rowe, Sainz, some big saleable assets in there. And the simple answer is no one knows what the hell Norwich is going to look like next season. Again, I'll say the same thing I said about Leeds when you reel off their big sellable assets. Maybe that's an issue West Brom don't have. No one's going to be pilfering their star guys for 15, 20, even more for when you talk about maybe an Archie Gray. Would Johnny Rowe get that much? I'm not sure. But Norwich, we know players are going to go out the door. But what's the managerial situation going to be? Looks like what is he called? Yannis Thorup? Yannis Hoff Thorup? I haven't even learned his name yet. I'll do that when we do the reveal video when he finally arrives at Norwich. But bit of an unknown quantity, I would have to say. What I will say about Norwich, and I say this perfectly lovingly, they have been the masters. We talk about the cliff edges in English football. They've been the masters of just staying the right side and being able to leverage that in the Championship over the last decade. Will they be able to go again without parachute payments? They will be able to raise maybe equivalent money. I think they possibly will, won't they, given the talent in their first 11 from last season? Will the manager be able to leverage? We all know what happened last time Norwich's parachute payments ran out. Buendia, Pookie, they won the title. That'd be a fine thing, wouldn't it, if they could repeat that under their new manager? But general logic, which doesn't always apply to the Championship, would say a potential fall, I would imagine. Let's answer that question I said at the start. Hopefully you've played along in the comments. The majority of playoff losers actually fall. Out of the last 15, it is close. It's 8 fell and 7 matched or bettered their position. But here's the important thing. 6 out of the 7 who matched or bettered, it's been a long week, I've been ill, their position were promoted. Luton, Sheffield United, Bournemouth, Brentford. And how about this for some happenstance? Leeds and West Brom, not one but 2 of the teams who lost in the playoffs this season, also lost in the 2018-19 playoffs, and then went up in first and second next season. I'm sure all the Leeds fans and all the West Brom fans would happily take that right here, right now. 4 of the 6 teams that got promoted went on to do automatic promotion. The other 2 won the playoffs from 3rd place. And you know my rallying call about this stupid idea. The playoffs are a lottery. And yes, Leeds fans, I know you've just lost from 3rd in a very weird season where 4th had 87 points. Factor that in. But all got promoted as top 3 teams. I think that's worth mentioning. It's probably worth mentioning. Poor old Barnsley lost in the playoffs from 5th place, finished bottom the next season. I will go on record now to say it is highly unlikely, and I do not think any of the teams we've talked about, Leeds, Norwich or West Brom, will be finishing bottom of the Championship next season. Let me know your thoughts on the playoff losers. Are we going to get a rise or a fall? How will they react? We're talking Leeds, Norwich and West Brom. Get your thoughts down there in the comments on bounce back ability. Can playoff heartbreak be forgotten quickly and a successful season registered thereafter?